Hello students, this is Prakash Lakshiti, your physics lecturer. In this video class, we are going to solve some numerical problems on the fifth topic, that is laws of motion. Let us see the first question. Give the magnitude and direction of the net force acting on. So there's a sub question, question A, a drop of rain falling down with a constant speed. Okay, so here the rain falls vertically downward, means it is having a particular direction, and its speed is constant. So it means its magnitude is a constant. Magnitude of speed, so magnitude of velocity. Speed is nothing but magnitude of velocity when the direction is same. Magnitude of velocity is same, and as well as the direction is also same, that is vertical downward. So that there is no acceleration. Here there is no acceleration. Acceleration is equal to 0. Then the force on that body, that is m into a, force on that falling drop, so that is also 0. So the net force is equal to 0 for the first one. And second one, a rock of mass 10 gram floating on a water. So here the body is floating on a water, means the downward forces and the upward forces are equal and opposite. Right, so there is no force on that body. I can say the force on this drop is also 0. A kite skillfully held stationary in the sky. See this word stationary means constant. Its velocity is 0. Its velocity is 0. So I can say it is at rest. So I can say the total force on a body is equal to 0, because as per the Newton's first law. So if there is no external force, then the body will be at rest or uniform motion. Okay, and a car is moving with a constant velocity. Again, it is a uniform velocity, so the force will be 0. And a high-speed electron in a space far from all material objects and free of electric and magnetic field. So there is no gravitational force, there is no electric force, and there is no magnetic force. Okay, so that this will be free from all this force. So we can say the net force on the electron is again 0. So you should have aware about the Newton's first law to answer these questions. Question number 2. A pebble of mass 0.05 kg is thrown vertically upward. Give the direction and magnitude of the net force on the pebble. Magnitude and direction of the net force on the pebble. Okay, during its upward motion. So during upward, like this, whenever it is moving upward, it moves under the action of the gravitation force. So its value is m into g. So the value, mass of that body is 0.05 kg, and acceleration due to gravity is taken to be 10. So actually it's 9.8. For simplification, I have taken it is 10, and the answer is 0.5. 0.5. So is the magnitude of that force. And the unit for that one, unit is Newton. So unit is Newton. Okay, so this is for A. And for the B was that during the downward. Okay, so it is about the magnitude. What about the direction? So it is the gravitational force. It is always directing downwards. The force is acting downward. And during the downward motion, so then also it is under direction of gravity only. Again it is m into g. So this is 0.05 into 10. Again you get the same thing, 0.5 Newton. So which is all again acting downwards. Next, question number C. At the highest point where it is momentarily at rest, do your answer changes if the pebble was thrown at an angle 40 degree. Okay, first solve this one. So when the body is at a highest point like this, so whenever you throw a body vertically upward like this, and it stops its motion and start to move down. Okay, at this point, so we call this as a highest point. Okay, at this point also it is the under action of the gravitational force. Again you can write 0.5 Newton, and it is acting vertically downwards. And see next one, if it is thrown at an angle 45 degree. So instead of moving vertically upward, so we thrown it as like this. So this is our ground. So instead of throwing like this, so we have thrown here at an angle 45 degree. So again it reaches the maximum point somewhere. So again, so the body start to move like this. So whatever the motion, it may be vertically upward or at a 45 degree, it will move under the action of the gravity only. So the answer doesn't change in this case also, in both magnitude as well as the direction. Direction is vertically downward towards the earth, and magnitude is m into g, 0.5 Newton. Okay, next one. One end of string of length L is connected to a particle of mass m and the other to a small peg on the smooth horizontal tape. If the particle moves in a circle with a speed v, the net force on the particle is. Say that body is moving in a circular path like this. So it is moving in a circular path like this, and it is by the thread. So along the thread there acts a force, and the body is moving in a circular path means it must have a centrifugal force. Okay, so as a result of that, so there will be a tension. Okay, so the body is experiencing the centrifugal force, and that centrifugal force on a body is equal to tension in that string. So you can say the net force acting on a body is the tension, so which is on the thread and is directing toward the center. Next one, a constant retarding force of 50 Newton is applied to a body of mass 20 kg moving with initial speed 15 meter per second. Initial speed, its value is u. Okay, and how long does the body take to stop? How long the body take to stop means t equal to, and they given mass value 20 kg and they given the force 50 Newton. And see the word, it is about the retarding force. It means it is a retardation. Retarding force means a negative force. This is F equal to minus 50 Newton. And they have given the mass of that body, that is 20 kg. They are given the initial velocity, that is 15 meter per second. And they are asking how long it takes. Say there like this. So that body, it is a horizontal surface. Okay, a body of particular mass, that is 20 kg. 20 kg is moving with the initial velocity u. Okay, so if a retarding force is acted means an opposing force. So what happens after traveling some distance? The body will stop. Like this. Okay, so body will stop means its final velocity is 0. So we have to mention it, v is equal to 0. Okay, the question is how long time it takes to change its speed from u to v. Means u equal to 15 meter per second to v equal to 0. So how long it takes? Okay, I can apply the kinematic equation. Okay, if you want to apply the kinematic equation, we need to get the acceleration. Okay, so by the equation F equal to m into a, then a is equal to F divided by m. So F value is minus 50. F value is minus 50 and divided by mass is 20. So acceleration is equal to minus 2.5 meter per second square. So this is our acceleration. Okay, minus 2.5 meter per second square. You can say it is a retardation of 2.5 meter per second. So meter per second square. Then you can apply the kinematic equation. V is equal to v naught plus a into t. So v is 0, v naught, that is u, that is a 15 meter per second. And what was the a? A is a negative quantity, minus 2.5, and the t we don't know. Take this term to left hand side, this become plus 2.5 into t is equal to 15. Then t is equal to 15 divided by 2.5. 15 divided by 2.5. So the answer is t is equal to 6 seconds. T is equal to 6 seconds. This is our answer. How long does it take? So means it takes 6 seconds to stop. Next, question number 6. A constant force acting on a body of mass 3 kg changes its speed from 2 meter per second to 3.5 meter per second. So I call this is u initial velocity and the final velocity v. Okay, this is the given time t equal to 25 seconds. The direction of motion of the body remains unchanged. Was the magnitude and the direction of the force. Okay, so what they have given? They have given the mass m is equal to 3 kg. M equal to 3.0 means 3 kg it is. Okay, so like this is 3 kg. Okay, so m is equal to 3 kg, and u is equal to 2 meter per second, and final velocity v is equal to 3.5 meter per second, and t is equal to 25 seconds. So direction of motion, okay, we should calculate the force, the magnitude of force. F is equal to m into a. So here they are not given the a value, so we can calculate it here. A is equal to final velocity minus initial velocity divided by time. Okay, final velocity is 3.5 and initial velocity is 2 and divided by time. So time is 25. Time is 25. Okay, and we can get an answer. So here 3.5 minus 2, this is 1.5 divided by 25. So finally a is equal to this is 1.5 divided by 25. Okay, I can keep it as it is. Acceleration is equal to 1.5 divided by 25, and here f equal to mass is 3 into acceleration is 1.5 divided by 25. If you simplify, you will get an answer. So this is 4.5 divided by 25, and finally f equal to 0.18 Newton. This is the magnitude of force. This is the magnitude of force. And what about the direction? Or the direction, and see, this is the positive force. So that's why the direction of force is same as that of motion. It means the force is along the motion. Direct motion ಯಾವ direction ಅದನ್ನು force ಕೂಡ ಅದೇ direction ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. Next question. A body of mass 5 kg is acted upon. They are given m value here. Body of mass 5 kg is acted upon by two perpendicular forces, 8 Newton and 6 Newton. Give the magnitude and direction of an acceleration of a body. There are two forces. So one force, okay, there is a body like this, okay, and two forces are acting perpendicularly. This is one force. I call this as the F1, okay, or I can call this as a F1. So F1 is equal to 8 Newton, F1 equal to 8 Newton, and F2 equal to this is 6 Newton, and they are acting perpendicularly. Okay, what's the net force on this body? So we have a formula, that is magnitude of resultant of two vectors is equal to p square plus q square plus 2pq into cos theta. Okay, so here the total force, and here the total force will be in between these two. This is the resultant force. So F is equal to resultant force, F is equal to under root F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 into cos of angle. It is 90 degree. Okay, and we know cos of 90 degree is equal to 0. Then the entire this term becomes 0. Now F is equal to F1 square plus F2 square. F1 is 8 Newton square, F2 is 6 Newton square. So this is 64 plus 36. It is nothing but F is equal to under root 100. So 100 is a square number, its value is 10. So the magnitude of resultant force is 10 Newton. And how to get its direction? By getting the angle. So alpha is the angle made by the resultant force with the first one. Which was the first one? That was 8 Newton. Okay, so how to get the value of alpha? It is like this. So this is our second force, and this is the first force F1. This is the second force F2. This is our resultant now. Is it? This is the F value. Okay, and here if I draw a line here, okay, this become a rectangle, and its value is equal to F2. This is 6 and this is 8, and okay, so this is 6 and 8. This is the value of alpha. Okay, then and we got this value also. This is 10. So somehow you can use any one of the trigonometric function, because you know all adjacent side, opposite side, as well as the hypotenuse side. So I take tan of alpha. Tan of alpha is equal to opposite divided by adjacent side. Opposite side is this value. Okay, so this is nothing but 6 Newton. Okay, and this is 8 Newton. Opposite divided by adjacent. So 6 divided by 8. The answer is So this is 0.75. The answer is 0.75. This is tan alpha. I want the value of alpha. So here this becomes tan inverse of 0.75. So you can use the trigonometric table and go for the natural tan and find the value. So here you will get an answer 36 degree 53 minute. So this is the angle which give you the direction. You can say with respect to the 8 Newton force, it will be at an angle 36 degree. Which one? The resultant force. Next one, a driver of three-wheeler moving with a speed of 36 kilometer per hour sees a child, means he was moving initially, means u value with a 36 kilometer per hour, sees a child standing in the middle of road and brings his vehicle to rest in 4 seconds, just in a time to save the child. Was the average retarding force on the vehicle? Okay, what they are given? So they have given the time value to stop. So this is time, and they are given the mass of the three-wheeler is 400 kg, and the mass of the driver is 65 kg. Okay, so it is a moving vehicle. So it is a surface first, it's a horizontal surface, and vehicle was moving, and its mass is 50 plus 60. Sorry, 400 plus 60. 400 is for that three-wheeler vehicle, and 60 is of that person. Okay, and initially it was moving with 36 kilometer per hour, and when he saw the child, he stops it. Okay, somehow it stopped here after traveling a time, sorry, after covering after the time 4 seconds, after time 4 seconds, and v is equal to 0 because it stops. If so, what's the value of the force, retarding force? Because it is a retarding force, because the force is stopping that vehicle. Here the acceleration, retarding acceleration. Okay, write the given terms. So m is equal to 400 plus 60, this is 460, right? And the t is equal to 4 second, and u is equal to initial velocity, u is equal to 36 kilometer per hour. I want to convert it into meter per second. So this will be 5 divided by 18. 5 divided by 18. So 18 ones are 18 twos are. So this will be 10 meter per second, which is this is the u value, initial velocity, and the final velocity is 0. Okay, then how to calculate the acceleration? Acceleration is equal to v minus u divided by t. V is 0 and u is minus 10 divided by time is 4. Is it? So the answer is minus 2.5. So this is minus 2.5 meter per second square. Okay, and finally the force on that vehicle, F equal to m into a. M is mass is 460, acceleration is minus 2.5. Okay, 460, sorry, the mass of that person is not a 60, it is 65. Say it is 65. So I have to take this as a 65. Okay, 465. Here it is 465. 465. Once I'll write 465 into minus 2.5. So the answer is in that negative sign. So it is 1162.5 Newton. This is the force. Okay, and that negative sign indicating this is the retarding force. It indicates it is the retarding force. Question number 9. A rocket with a liftoff mass of 20 kg is blasted. Its mass, initial mass is 20 kg, is blasted upward with the initial acceleration of 5 meter per second square. So it is 5 meter per second square. Calculate the initial thrust of the blast. Okay, we know. So why are they given the initial liftoff mass? Liftoff mass means we know as the rocket move up, its mass decreases because of the you can say by the utilization of the fuel, or you can say if there is a second stage or third stage rocket, so that will be cut off and fall down. Okay, so for example, so this is a rocket. Okay, and it is moving with an acceleration. Is moving with an acceleration of 5 meter per second initially, 5 meter per second square. And here, if you want to move up, so there must be an upward force. And here, if it is a rocket and it is having if it is having a mass 20,000 kg, means it has a downward force weight. This is m into g. Okay, and the resultant force is upward. So there is a upward force which is called the thrust. Thrust is a form of force. Okay, and we know the body is moving up, means the upward force is more. Upward force minus downward force, that will be the resulting motion or resulting force ma. Okay, then T is equal to ma plus w. This minus w, if it comes to here, it is plus. So T is equal to m into mg plus this is ma, this is ma, and this is ma, and this is w. So T is equal to ma as it is plus w means m into g. So T is equal to m into a plus g. Was a m, so mass m is a mass of that rocket. So this is m is equal to 20,000 kg, or you can write 2 into 10 to the power 4 kg, 2 into 10 to the power 4. So I'll write it as 2 into 10 to the power 4, and acceleration is 5, and this is 9.8 meter per second square acceleration due to gravity. So 2 into 10 to the power 4 into bracket, so this is 14.8, and the answer is 14.8 into 2, this is 29.6, this is 10 to the power 4, and the unit is Newton. So this is the thrust experienced by that rocket to move with an acceleration 5 meters per second square initially. Next one, a bob of mass 0.1 kg hung from ceiling of a room by a string of 2 meter long is set into oscillation. The speed of bob at its mean position is 1 meter per second square. Was the trajectory of the bob if the string cut when the bob is at one of its extreme positions and at its mean position? Okay, so this is the ceiling, and a 0.1 kg bob is hung. Okay, so this is the thread. Okay, this is the string of 2 meter. This is of 2 meter. Okay, so it is under the oscillation, means it comes to this position. Okay, and if you allow it to move, so it will move like this. So this is the oscillation, right? So this is the oscillation. So it covers to and fro motion, right? So what happens if the string cuts when the bob is at extreme position? So this is called extreme position, and the middle one, this is called mean position. At the extreme position, we know its speed is 0, and at the mean position, they are given its speed is 1 meter per second. Okay, so when the thread cuts at its extreme position, means when its speed is 0, it means the body falls under the action of gravity. So I can say the body is a free falling and vertically downward. So when the string cuts, so it falls like this. Okay, so I say this is a free fall body. Okay, if the thread cuts at this position, say it is moving with a particular velocity, that is 1 meter per second. So when the thread cuts at its mean position, so initially it is having some speed, so that's why it moves horizontally. Okay, so this is the trajectory of that metal bob when the string cuts at extreme position as well as the mean position. Next question. A man of mass 70 kg stands on a weighing scale in a lift which is moving with the which is moving upwards with a uniform speed 10 meter per second. Okay, first you should know the concept. Whenever we stand on a weighing machine, so we see the weight on its display. So that value given by that machine is not actual our weight. So this is our actual weight, but the machine which gives you, that is the normal reaction. So this is your weight and this is normal reaction. Say the normal reaction, it may vary in a different condition. So as a result, your weight may vary by the same machine. So for this one, we call the apparent weight. We call it as apparent weight. And this one is, this is actual weight. This is actual weight, right? So what happens if the machine is in lift and the person is standing on that lift, sorry, standing on that machine, and that lift is moving with a speed of 10 meters per second. It means the acceleration of the lift is zero. So the only acceleration acting there is the acceleration due to gravity, right? So that's why the weight which is acting downward is equal to the normal reaction of that machine, which is the apparent weight. It is equal to m into g. Okay, and here, if for simplification I take g is equal to 10 meter per second square, right? So the value of m is 70 and this is 10, so this is 700 Newton. So this is the actual apparent weight when the lift is moving with uniform speed upward direction. So this is about option question A. And the question B, if it is moving downward with a uniform acceleration, so if it is a lift and this is a machine and the person is standing on that machine, right? So now the lift is moving down. The lift is moving down. Okay, so it means the downward force, and there is a weight which is acting downward and there is a normal reaction. So the total force is along the downward direction. So that's why I can write the downward force. The downward force W is equal to W is the resultant force MA is equal to W minus N. So this is MA and this is mg minus N. If I take here N is equal to m into g minus m into a. So this is m into g minus a. While moving down, so what you get by that machine is apparent weight. So it is normal reaction. So mass of that person is 70 and acceleration due to gravity, this is 10, and that lift is moving with 5 meters per second. So now 70 into 10 minus 5, this is 5. So now the answer is 70 into 5. So this is nothing but the 350. It's nothing but so 350 Newton. So 350 Newton. So this is in second case. Okay, and what about the C? Third case in Aktada. So if the lift moving upwards with the uniform acceleration 5 meters per second. Yes, 5 meters per second. If it is moving up, see, this is the lift and this is the machine and the person standing on it. Okay, so the lift is moving up, means is moving, its force is ma. Okay, and the weight is W, and this is normal reaction. This is normal reaction N. Okay, so now you can write ma is equal to upward force minus downward. So this is N minus mg. If I take this side, so N is equal to m into a plus m into g. This will be m into a plus g or g plus a, right? So the normal reaction is nothing but the apparent weight. So g is 10 and this is 5, and 70 into 15. So you get an answer 70 into 15. It is 1050. This is 1050 Newton. 1050 Newton. So this is called the apparent weight shown by the machine when the lift is moving up. And the D question. So what would be the reading if the lift mechanism failed and it start to move under the action of gravity only? Then it means if the lift is moving freely with the acceleration g. Okay, so we know the apparent weight that is N is equal to m into g minus a. So m mass of that system and acceleration due to gravity, and see, it is also falling with the same acceleration g minus g, it yields 0. Okay, in the fourth case, the reading of that weighing machine is 0, means the person feels a weightlessness. This is the apparent weight. Actually, it is having some weight. Okay, this is about the question. Next one, Two bodies of masses 10 kg and 20 kg. I call this M1 and this is M2, respectively kept on a smooth horizontal surface. Smooth horizontal surface means there is no friction. Okay, they say it is negligible friction. Smooth horizontal surface are tied to the ends of light string. Horizontal force of 600 Newton is applied to A body first. I call this A body and this is B body. Okay, and then along B in the direction of a string. What is the tension in the string in each case? Okay, so see the diagram for a first one. So when the force applied on A, so this is a horizontal surface. This is a horizontal surface, and it is the body of mass M1, A body, and this is the body B. Okay, so I make its size larger because its mass is greater. I call M2 equal to 20 and M1 is equal to 10 kg and this is 20 kg, and there's a string between these two. There's a string between these two, right? So now a force is applied. A force is applied on A, right? As a result of this force, so the entire system started to accelerate, and we can say because of the connection, the entire system moves with the same the constant acceleration. With what acceleration A move, the same acceleration, the same with the same acceleration, the body B also moves. So this is a B body, right? So there develops, so when you apply the force here, there develops a tension. There develops a tension here in the string. So you should calculate what's the value of that string in such a case. See here, if I calculate the total force on A, so it is moving with a particular acceleration, that is A. So the momentary force is equal to the supporting force minus tension. This is our supporting force and this is opposing force. F minus T is equal to resulting momentary force. Is it? So, and the same thing we can apply for the B. So with what acceleration is moving, it is also moving with the same acceleration A. So the force on the second body, this is first body M1 mass, second body M2 mass, M2 into A is equal to T. M2 into A is equal to T. So what to calculate here? We should calculate the tension. But we don't know what's the acceleration here. We don't know what's the acceleration. So first we should get the acceleration. So adding these two. So you can write M1A plus M2A is equal to F minus T and plus T. They cancel, is equal to F. Then acceleration. So M1 plus M2 and acceleration is a common term. Okay, F. So A is equal to F divided by M1 plus M2. So what's the value of F? The applied force is, where is it? Okay, here it is 600 Newton. So this is 600 divided by M1 plus M2. M1 is 10, M2 is 20. So 600 divided by 30. So 0, 0 cancel. So 3 ones are 320. Okay, acceleration is equal to 20 meter per second square. Acceleration 20 meter per second. So applying any one of this equation. So I'll apply M2 into A is equal to tension. M2 is 20 into A is 20 is equal to T. So the tension on the string is 400 Newton. When the force is applied on A. When the force is applied on A. Okay. So for the second case, if the force is applied on B, what happens? Okay, see the diagram. So this is a A body. Okay, this is the B body. This is the B body having the larger mass. Okay, this is the string between these two. If the force is applied here, okay, and the tension develops here, okay, and all that system move with the acceleration A. Okay, so then I can write the equation like a F minus T. F minus T is equal to motion of that second body. Okay, and T is equal to tension in the string is the reason for the motion in the A body with acceleration. So M1 into A. Again adding these two. So we can get F is equal to M1A plus M2 into A. So I want to get the A. So this will be F divided by M1 plus M2. Again the same thing like before. So again you will get 20 meter per second square. This is acceleration. Put it in your equation 1. So T is equal to M1 into A. So M1 value is 10, A is 20, and here this is 200 Newton. So here the tension may be 200 Newton. If you apply the force on B. If you apply the force on A, you will get the tension 400 Newton. Okay, so this is the answer for this question. Two masses 8 kg and 12 kg are connected at the two ends of a light inextensible string that goes over a frictionless pulley. Find the acceleration of a masses and the tension in the string when the masses are released. There are two bodies of masses m1 8 kg and m2 12 kg are connected at the two ends of a inextensible string that goes over a frictionless pulley. It means so there is a pulley, okay, and those two bodies are hanging. Okay, so this is the string. This is the string. Actually, they are connected like this. Okay, ಇದು m1 ಮಾಸ್, ಇದು m2 ಮಾಸ್. ಇದೇನು ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಂಗ್ ನಿಂದ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಂಗ್ ನಾವು ಈ ಪುಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಜೋತ್ ಬಿಡ್ತೇವ್ರಿ. ಇವಾಗ ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ತೇವ, ನೇತ್ ಹಾಕ್ತೇವ. ಅಂಡ್ m1 is 8 kg, m2 is 12. ಸೊ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ m2 ವೇಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅದ, ಇದು ಹಿಂಗಾಗಿರ್ತದ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ m2. ಎಷ್ಟದ ವೇಟ್ ಇದ್ರದ 8 kg, ಸಾರಿ ಮಾಸ್ 8 kg ಅದ. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಏನದ, ಸೊ m1 ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟದ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಸಾರಿ m2 is 12 kg and this is 8 kg. Okay, so see here it will move down when you allow that thread on a pulley. So the m2 will move down with an acceleration a. Okay, and there develops a tension on the string. So the same tension acts here also. This is the T and this is the downward force. So what is the so how many forces are acting on m2? There are three forces. One is its weight. This is m2 into g. Another one is upward tension, and this is the acceleration. See here, the resultant force is downward. Means for the m2, the downward force is more. Downward force minus the upward force is equal to that downward motion m2 into a. Okay, I can write the W as m2 into g minus t is equal to m2 a. Okay, so this is for the second body, and for we can write the same equation for m1. Write the same equation m1. M1 is also under the forces weight as well as tension, and is moving up. It is moving with the same acceleration as that of this body, because both are connected with the same string. So that's why the acceleration of a system will be same. Is it okay? So then the momentary force is upward, means upward force is more than its downward force. Then it is moving m1 into a with a force m1 into a. So this is the tension. Okay, tension minus m1 into g is equal to m1 into a. Okay, this is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. And adding equation 1 and 2, adding equation 1 and 2. So what happens? m2g as it is, m2g minus t here, and the plus t is here. Plus t minus t cancel, and the remaining term is m1 into g equal to m2a plus m1 into a. So we can write so g is a common term here, take it out, m2 minus m1. Here a is a common term, take it out, this is m2 plus m1. So I want the acceleration, so m2 minus m1 into g divided by m2 plus m1, and substitute the values. m2 is 12 kg, m1 is 8 kg, and this is the minus sign. This is the minus sign here. This is the minus, divided by 12 plus 8 into g. So I take the acceleration due to gravity 10 meter per second square. Okay, 12 minus 8, this is 2 into 10 divided by 12 plus 8 is 20. Okay, so our answer is, once again, sorry, what happens here? 12 minus 8, this is 4, and into 10 divided by 20, this is 40 by 20 is equal to 2 meter per second square. This is our acceleration. And what about the tension? Substitute this equation, substitute this value, that is a is equal to 2 meter per second square in any of now the above equations. So I'll write t minus w is equal to m1 into a, or you can write t minus m1 g equal to m1 into a. So the t is equal to m1 a plus m1 into g. Is it? So what's the equation now? So I can write m1 common a plus g. So m1 value, m1 is it is 8. Okay, so this is 8 and a is 2 and g is 10. So 8 into 12. So the tension is 8 into 12. Okay, the tension is the value, it is 90 Newton. 90 Newton. So yeah, tension is equal to tension T is equal to 90 Newton. Okay, so this is a way how we can solve such a problems. Next question. A nucleus is at rest in the laboratory frame of reference. Show that if it disintegrates into two smaller nuclei, the products must move in opposite directions. Okay, initially, so it is a parent nuclei. So in a laboratory, somehow it is splitted into two smaller nuclei. It is splitted into two smaller nuclei. Is it? Okay, so here we have to prove these two move in opposite direction after the disintegration. Suppose that nuclei are splitted, so they have to move in opposite direction. So how we can prove? And see here, initial the mass of system, I call this as Pi, and the final linear momentum of the entire system. So the system consists of the two bodies now, because the mass of these two is equal to mass of this one. I can write this is m, and I call this is m1 and m2. I can write the capital M is equal to m1 plus m2. Is it? Okay, and I say it is moving with the velocity v1 and it is moving with velocity v2, right? So the total linear momentum of the system is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 into v2 with the negative notations. Okay, and I can write the initial linear momentum as a 0 because initially the nucleus was at rest, even though it is having some mass. So the pi is equal to initial linear momentum, pi is equal to m into v. So capital M into v, capital M into v is 0. So that's why linear momentum is 0 initially. Initially it is 0. Okay, and according to the law of conservation of linear momentum, according to law of conservation of linear momentum, we can write initial linear momentum of a system is equal to final linear momentum of a system. Initial linear momentum is 0 and the final linear momentum is m1 v1 plus m2 v2. Is it? Take it here. So we should, okay, and the next one v2. If I take this term to this side, this is m2 v2 with a negative sign. Okay, m1 v1, right? Then v2 is equal to minus m1 divided by m2 into v1. Okay, so here you are getting a negative sign here. That negative sign indicate the v1 and v2 are in opposite directions. So this is the proof for this question. Two billiard balls, each of mass 0.05 kg, moving in opposite directions with a speed 6 meters per second, collide and rebound with the same speed. Was the impulse imparted to each ball due to the other? Okay, so here there are two balls, two billiard balls, the first ball and the second ball, right? Both are having the same mass, m and m. They are moving with the same speed. I call this is v1. Okay, so this value is 6 meters per second. It is also moving with 6 meters per second. Okay, so I call this symbol as the u. The symbol as u and the symbol is v. This is u1. Okay, when they move in opposite direction, so they collide with each other. And after the collision, again they start to move in opposite direction with the same speed, like this, with the same speed. Okay, so if I take this as a positive, I have to take this as the final speed, the negative, because of the opposite direction. And here u1 was positive, now the u2 is negative, minus 6 meters per second. Okay, so if I take a single body, so if I focus on the single ball, so what happens? This was the initial momentum, so this is p is equal to m1 into v1. So when it collide with that one, so after the collision it start to move like this. So this is initial value and this is the final value. I call this is m2 v2, m2 sorry, m same, mass is same and the speed is also same but with a negative one. So I call this is a minus v, right? Okay, so this is v2, this is v2, it is in opposite direction. So now the impulse is equal to we know it is equal to change in linear momentum. So initially final momentum minus initial momentum, so pf minus pi. So this is initial final value, the mass of that one, so I can write m into v, and initially it is also m into v, so both are having the same speed, so this become minus 2m into v. v1 and v2 both are equal, so no need to write m1 v1 v2, so this is like this. Okay, then I can write it like a minus 2 into mass is 0.05 into speed, its value is 2, so minus 12 into 0.05, minus 12 into 0.05, right? And I can write it like minus 0.60 and the unit is Newton meter. Okay, so in concept, and if it is moving with a velocity u while returning its speed, its velocity is minus u. So this is mu, this is minus mu. So the change in the linear momentum is equal to minus mu and one more minus mu. This is minus 2 mu. So the same thing for the second body also. So the impulse imparted on each ball is minus 0.60 Newton meter. Next one, a shell of mass 0.02 kg is fired from the gun of 100 kg. If the muzzle speed of the shell is 80 meters per second, what's the recoil speed of the gun? Okay, so this is our gun now. So this is a gun, right? And a shell is fired. A shell is fired from the gun. So the mass of gun is equal to 100 kg, and the mass of the bullet, I mean the shell, is 0.2 kg, and its speed I call this is VB. Its speed is 80 meters per second. 80 meters per second. Was the speed of the gun? G, VG equal to question mark. Okay, so we know initially the gun or the bullet, both were at rest. Gun and bullet both were at rest, means initial linear momentum is 0. So when it is fired, then the total linear momentum become m1 v1 plus m2 v2. So this is the final linear momentum. So as per the conservation of linear momentum, Pf is equal to Pi. So this is m1 v1 plus m2 v2 equal to 0. Instead of writing m1 v1, I'll write mass of gun and speed of the gun plus mass of bullet and the speed of bullet is equal to 0. Now I want the recoil speed of the gun, that is Vg is equal to, okay, so this is m of the gun, mass of gun, and this will be minus mass of bullet into speed of the bullet or velocity of the bullet. So then V of G is equal to minus mb into Vb divided by mg. So minus sign as it is. Okay, mb value, mass of the bullet is 0.2 and Vb value, its speed is 80 divided by mass of the gun, it is 100. So minus 0.2 into 80 divided by 100. So finally we will get an answer 0.016 meter per second. Okay, so velocity of gun is minus 0.016 meter per second. And see the speed, the velocity value is negative. It means the gun move in opposite direction. Gun moves in opposite direction, opposite direction to the bullet, opposite direction to the bullet. So for this we call the recoil speed. We call it as recoil speed. So with what speed it recoils back? Okay, this is the answer.